Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel, Going Places with Abu Maika, where I talk about all things Canadian from an immigrant's perspective. Now, this video is about the province of Quebec for express entry candidates. Are you allowed to settle in Quebec? Are you allowed to even land in Quebec? After how long can you move to Quebec after landing in Canada as a permanent resident? I'm going to be unpacking the Quebec issue and hopefully settle it once and for all. So, hey, you want to find out more about that? Do stay tuned. All right, so welcome back, guys. So Quebec is a bit of a contentious little province. It's not little at all, but yeah, the province of Quebec is unique in Canada's geopolitics, which I'm not going to talk about. But for would-be immigrants to Canada, express entry candidates, express entry applicants, a lot of you guys would know about how it is that you are not allowed to settle in Quebec, but at the same time the Charter of Rights and Freedoms gives every permanent resident the right to live and work anywhere in Canada, and of which Quebec is in Canada. So where's the disconnect? Where is the contradiction? So there is actually no contradiction, and I'm gonna just unpack this for you so that you can understand it. So now, those of you who are not familiar with the express entry system, I'll just sort of like give a 30-second summary. Express entry is a points-based immigration program that basically ranks candidates according to various selection criteria, which I won't go into the details, but Quebec is excluded from that express entry system. Express entry, the ultimate, the end game for express entry is you becoming a permanent resident. Okay, so you become a permanent resident of Canada if you apply for express entry and you are successful. Now, you are now a permanent resident of Canada, and when you look at your rights in the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, it gives you the right to live and work anywhere in Canada. But then when you're applying for permanent residence under express entry, one of the eligibility criteria is you must intend to settle outside the province of Quebec. So you'll be like, okay, why? Why? Because Quebec has got its own skilled worker selection program. Okay, so they select their own skilled immigrants. So if you want to settle in Quebec, guys, apply under Quebec's immigration programs. Okay, it's as simple as that. Don't use express entry to move to Quebec. Okay. So where's the contradiction then? Where is the disconnect? Now, one thing that's very important, guys, is that your rights, okay, can never supersede your obligations. Okay, this is the key to understanding the Quebec issue, and also the key to understanding the provincial nominee issue, because provincial nominees must settle in the province that nominated them. Okay, I'm just gonna pull up the on the screen just an extract from the express entry eligibility whatever website. So look at this, guys. It clearly states that if you're applying for express entry, you must intend to live outside Quebec. Okay, and then it also states that when you're applying for express entry, you will be asked where you want to settle. Okay, and you don't necessarily have to settle there. Okay, that's number 2. And number 3, if you apply for provincial nomination, you must is actually put in bold, guys. You must settle in the province that nominated you. No question about that. But then a permanent resident can live anywhere in Canada. Yes, you are allowed to live anywhere in Canada. Okay, I hope I'm not confusing you guys, but yeah, let me unpack this. So I mentioned a couple of seconds ago, your rights cannot supersede your obligations. Okay, so I'll give an example. I have the right to go anywhere I want to go right now. Okay, I'm in Edmonton. I'm at a place called South Park Center, and if I want to go to West Edmonton Mall, legally no one can stop me from doing that. Okay, but if I see a traffic light, I have to stop. The traffic light is not superseding my right to go anywhere I want, but I have an obligation to stop at a traffic light because it's the law. I have an obligation to stop. If a police officer stops me, I cannot say, hey, let me go, because I have the right to go wherever I want. Okay, so it's the same with the Quebec issue. Okay, yes, as a permanent resident, you have the right to live wherever you want in Canada, but you can be stopped, okay, by a police officer called IRCC who can say, hey, Abu, When you applied for immigration, you told us that you want to settle outside Quebec. That's, you know, one of the reasons why we gave you permanent residence at the express entry is because we believed you when you told us that you want to settle outside Quebec, right? So if you are now, you know, a permanent resident and now you want to go to Quebec, then IRCC, the police officer, can stop you and say, hey, Abu, that's not what we agreed on, okay? If you then still want to barge your way in and say, hey, I'm going to go to Quebec anyways, then it means that you would have violated Section 127 of the Immigration and Refugee Protection Act, which states that if you are, you know, if you lie on your immigration application, I'll just summarize it. There's a lot of legal terminology there, but the short summary of Section 127 is if you lie on your immigration application, then that can be grounds for revoking your status, and nobody wants that, guys. Okay, always, you know, as an immigrant in Canada, it's important to always be on the right side of the law. Okay, don't get yourself into trouble unnecessarily because you want to just push your rights. No, there you have rights, yes, but you also have an obligation, and Section 127 is a legal obligation. It's a legal one, guys. Legal, not moral. It's legal. Okay, so now, of course, a lot of people will say, hey, you know, when you go to another province, okay, your permanent resident card doesn't have an address, right? So it doesn't state that. So my PR card, I don't move around with it because it's useless when you're in Canada, right? I don't move around with my PR card, but my PR card doesn't say I live in Edmonton or I live in Alberta or whatever. Even if you're a provincial nominee, your PR card won't say you know, you were nominated by Ontario province. No, it's just a permanent resident card. You're a permanent resident of Canada. This is when you became a permanent resident. This is where you became a permanent resident. That's it. Okay, so where do these issues arise? Sometimes people land in one province, they go to another province, even though they were nominated by one province and they have an obligation to stay there, but they move to another province. Why? Because the other province never asked them, hey, what are you doing here? Even when you're filing your taxes, they're not going to say, hey, why are you filing taxes in Manitoba and yet you are nominated by Alberta, right? They're not going to ask you that, right? But usually such issues crop up when you apply for citizenship. Why? Because at that time, usually immigration opens up your whole file from when you landed to the current. Okay, so they're gonna know where you landed, when you landed, which immigration program you used, who you landed with, you know, all of that stuff, any issues, you know, employment, taxes, all of that stuff. Okay, so if at that point, usually that's where these issues crop up, because that's when immigration will say, hey, you are now applying for citizenship. You applied for immigration to Canada as an Ontario nominee, but now you spent like what, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 weeks in Ontario, and then you moved to Quebec, and then you moved to British Columbia. Why did you move from there to there? You don't want those kind of questions to be asked at the point where you're now applying for citizenship, right? So what's the short answer, guys? The short answer is you are allowed to settle in the province of Quebec as a permanent resident as long as you're not in violation of Section 127. As long as you didn't lie on your immigration application that, hey, I wanted to settle in Ontario, or I wanted to settle outside Quebec, but circumstances changed and, you know, I moved later to Quebec. It's allowed. Right now, I've been living in Alberta for 2 years, guys. Right? I have tried to settle in Alberta and I have. But if I want to move to Quebec, legally I can do that, right? And you know, there is nothing about what happened after I landed that showed that all I wanted was to go to Quebec. Okay, so if I want to go to Quebec right now, I can go to Quebec, and it's likely that it won't raise any issues in the future. So what am I saying, guys? Express entry, just follow the rules. If you want to apply under express entry, follow the rules of express entry. Forget about Quebec. Okay, don't try to just barge in and say, I've got rights. Okay, you might just find yourself having to explain yourself in court because of one province out of a possible 10. Like, really, guys, if you land in Ontario and Ontario doesn't work out, why not check Nova Scotia next door? Why not check why not check Newfoundland and Labrador? Why not check Manitoba next door? Why not check Saskatchewan? Why not check British Columbia? You can check any of the territories, 3 of them, Yukon, Northwest Territories, all of those places you can move to. I don't think there's any job that you will get in Quebec that you can't get in BC, or that you can't get even in Ontario, or that you can't get in Northwest Territories. Guys, it's the same country. It's Canada. Okay, so don't put yourself on the spotlight unnecessarily. Okay, just follow the rules of the game. You applied for express entry, you promised the government that you're going to live outside of Quebec, so just do that. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much the short summary. Now another one very quickly: can you land at an airport in Quebec? Yes, you can, because it's federal institutions that do your landing process, not provincial ones. Okay, so Montreal airport is an international airport. You are allowed to land there. You're allowed to do your landing procedures there, as long as you're not going there to settle. Okay, because they're going to ask you that, where are you headed? And if you say, oh, I'm going to be staying with my uncle in Quebec City, they'll be like, for how long? Well, yeah, I'm going to live there. No, that'll make you inadmissible right away off the bat, and you probably won't be allowed to enter Canada. So yeah, guys, I hope you found this video useful. If you did, give it a thumbs up, like, share, subscribe, turn on notifications. Don't miss out when I upload the next video. Peace out, guys.